India, their ban on cryptocurrency, and how it's going to impact millions of people in their country. Now, as of July 5th, the government officially imposed an all-out ban on cryptocurrency. This is cryptocurrency transactions at the banking level, moving fiat into crypto. Banks are no longer allowed to work with the exchanges to move fiat currency Rupee over to the exchange to then be exchanged for cryptocurrency. This isn't an overall outlawing of cryptocurrency, meaning those who have cryptocurrency on the exchanges can still transact their cryptocurrencies into other paired cryptocurrencies. However, it does put an official hurt on the cryptocurrency market in India, being that no new fiat currency, no new rupee is being moved onto the exchanges. So now, although this ruling is newly imposed, this negative impact or the negative opinion of the government towards cryptocurrency is not that new. This is exactly what we're going to explore today. I'm going to provide a little bit of feedback, and then we're going to go through and review a number of articles that I pulled up over the course of the past year to really identify where the mindset and the opinion of the government has really been fermenting from. My name is Jeff with the Hodl Report. Today you're going to be joining me on our journey into the world of cryptocurrency as we explore the vast potential of cryptocurrency that the government in India has chosen to ignore, and really how many millions of people are going to suffer as a direct result of this recent ban on the cryptocurrencies by the government in India. Now, before we begin, I do need to put out a quick disclaimer. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not providing financial advice. I'm only offering up my own opinions. But if I am going to offer any advice to you, then let it be this. Do your own research. Invest only in what you can afford. Invest only in what you're truly comfortable investing in. And don't buy and sell based on hype or FOMO that's being spread online. That's it. Let's get started. Let's get into the topic of today. So the government of India. Now, the government of India banning cryptocurrency trade from fiat to crypto really can be seen as nothing more than a means to control what the central bank really interprets as a direct competition to their holdings and their manipulation of the rupee. The government, through the central bank, claimed that the primary reason that they're against cryptocurrency is the direct propensity of the cryptocurrency to be used for criminal or illicit activities. Even more than that, for the possibility or the potential that the people of India, not just the criminal elements of people, but the general public of India will be more susceptible to using cryptocurrency to avoid taxes, accept bribes, and purchase illegal goods. As we'll see later, as we're going through some of the articles, we'll actually see some opinions that, in fact, this is really all based on an incorrect premise by the government, just based on a complete ignorance or misunderstanding of what cryptocurrency really is and what it really means for the public in India. Now, again, this is truly a false narrative, as it is commonplace right now in the business world in India to have an exchange of fiat currency to speed up business transactions, government transactions, the import of goods, the avoidance of high customs fees, and yes, even a decrease in the valuation of products so that an importer can avoid paying high taxes. I know this takes place. I've done business over in India, and I've been told firsthand that there's a line item on every product imported that accounts for these handing outs of what we'll call an exchange for speeding up of a transaction. Now, this is all taking place today. It's been taking place for years, and guess what? It's being done in fiat currency. It's not being done in digital currency, and this fiat currency is 100% not traceable. As you compare that to Bitcoin and the ledger system, which is definitely traceable. So the real fear within the government is that they are going to be losing control of a manipulation of the valuation of the rupee currency, and thereby also a control over the people. So is this really the basis of which the government in India, the central bank in India, is really making their decisions on this new technology. So while the government policies currently are against cryptocurrency trading, the government has come out in support of blockchain technology, and we'll see that in some of the articles that we're going to read in a little bit. Now, the thing is, you can't really have one without the other. You can't have a support for blockchain technology on one hand and an outright ban on cryptocurrency trading and fiat exchange of crypto on the other. So on one side, they claim that they want to embrace blockchain technology. On the other, they're afraid that such technologies are going to lead to cybercrime, bribery, tax avoidance, money laundering. But within the internal workings of government for years, they've discussed the issue of bribes. And this has nothing to do with cryptocurrency because it's bribes of government officials in fiat currency. This has been going on for years and years and years. What's truly amazing is that a really strong case can be made as to why India should be embracing the cryptocurrency market as a regional, if not world leader. They have the capability. They have the technical know-how. They have the people. They have the unbanked. India has the perfect environment for cryptocurrency to flourish, as it is in many of the other countries just around in the same area. I would argue that that what's happening right now, this ban, is really going to be a temporary infliction. Either the government's going to reverse course, as we've seen with many of the other governments in the region, or the people are going to find a workaround. It's going to go one way or the other, but this ban is not going to prevent the people in India from moving currency into cryptocurrency and transacting in a technology that's truly revolutionizing our financial world. Now, the major issue is that the government doesn't want competition. I just mentioned that. The RBI, Central Bank of India, doesn't want transparency. Through the ledger system and Bitcoin, you will get transparency. Right now, with the movement of fiat currency, there's no transparency. You can't track every bill that's out there. And we're going to see some of the other plans that the central bank has, that the government has, as they've been moving fiat currencies out of the market, maybe for other purposes. Now, the rupee as a currency has been extremely volatile over the years. It's depreciated considerably just over the last 10 years. And now with the depreciation of this currency, the cost of importing goods into India has increased dramatically as a result. I know directly how that impact is for someone that was exporting to India, and how our customers over in India had to deal with the increase in cost due to the depreciation and the volatility of the rupee, and the times that we had to wait between receiving payment and even processing orders because of the valuation and the depreciation, where there was such a huge gap in between. So now with the transactions of business or business transactions being put on hold or delayed, imagine how this impacts the local economy. The local economy now has to do without certain goods because they can no longer import them because of the cost. Now, this cost isn't in the single digits. This could be, in the 4 digits, thousands of dollars in extra cost added onto a product that might now make it completely not profitable for the local people to then sell this imported good. They just couldn't do it because those thousands in increased costs will directly impact the consumer that is no longer willing to pay the increased cost of that good. Now, if we review the actual currency trend over the past 10 or 11 years, so this would be from 2007 to 2018, we're looking at a period in which the rupee in 2007, $1 was equal to 41 INR. Now, as we move forward into 2018, the value of $1 to rupee is now $68.70, 68 INR rupee, 68.78 rupee to $1. That's a 67.59% change in the value of the INR, the depreciation of the INR. The INR to exchange into dollars is that much more costly. So that's a huge value to lose in the past 10, 11 years. And since most international transactions are valued in dollars, Imagine how that is impacting the people and the public in the financial sectors and the general public sectors of India, as they have access or don't have access to certain goods, or the cost of goods go up. Now, the RBI wants to control the money. They want to limit and they want to block transparency. They're really not motivated to end this bribery mentality. Now, cryptocurrency, as we know, can have a very large upside potential to the people of India. We've seen it everywhere in the world. There's a huge upside potential. There's definitely a huge upside potential to those nations that are in a developing stage, that have a large percentage of their population that are unbanked. We're going to see that India, with a population of 1.3 million, although they're moving people away from fiat currency, and we'll talk about those purposes, but they have in excess of 200 million people that are unbanked today. So imagine what the cryptocurrency market can do for these people. It allows people to easily move their currency for transactions anywhere in the world. Even internally, we're going to see the cost of transactions can be as much as 15% to move money throughout India. So there's super high cost of transaction just internally in India. So imagine what a currency like XRP can do internally just for India, that has a huge market, and we're going to explore that a little bit in one of the articles later. But the government in India is really too concerned about successful cryptocurrencies from competing with their weak rupee fiat. That's really what the concern is here. It's not about, hey, how can we make people's lives better with this new technology? It's like, hey, we love this technology, but you know what? I think this new technology is competing too much with our poor currency and our control over the public finance. Now, the RBI has been working on an initiative to move hundreds of millions of unbanked to being banked. I just mentioned that a little bit, and we're going to see that in one of the articles as well. But they want to decrease the amount of paper money circulating in the economy. They want to move it to become a more digital transacted economy, similar to in Europe or in the US, where we rely heavily on credit cards. The RBI is taking fiat currency out of circulation, putting it into the banks. They want more people in the banks. They want more control over people's transactions. They don't like all the cash transactions, and a large percentage of the population, we're talking about hundreds of millions, are not transacting through the banks, and so they're completely avoiding taxes. So this is definitely something that the central bank and the government want to change. They want more taxes. They want to take the money out of the people's pockets, but by providing a surplus of funds to the banks, imagine now everything's in the banking system, just like in Europe or in the US. Now they can turn around and loan that money at higher interest rates, and we don't know exactly how the government in India or the banking system will do that. What kind of interest rates are they going to charge people to now loan the money out for mortgages and car loans and business loans? But they want to utilize the financial wealth of the public at large. And now at this point, hundreds of millions of people are keeping their money in fiat currency and not using the banks. So we know cryptocurrency can offer the people of India a very modern way to digitize their financial economic transactions. Many of these people are avoiding moving their money into the banks mainly because of their distrust of the government, their distrust of what the government and the central bank might do with their currency. Now, with cryptocurrency, they get to maintain 100% control over their coins, over their bank, over their wallet. But this would also mean that the RBI would have to give up control of the uncirculated fiat. They'd have to give up control of currency in general to the crypto wallets, where they have no control. Now, with that, I want to get into it. These are a lot of thoughts that are brewing right now, and I'm sure you all have some opinions. But now let's go and explore some articles that have appeared over the past year, and I really think it's going to pull everything together about what's happening in India, and we can discuss a little bit more as we explore this. All right, so I took a few clips of articles that we're going to go through. I kind of simplified it here. We're going to start June 25th through 2017, and we're going to come pretty much forward to June of 2018. And I think this is an interesting time period to look at, but we see negativity from the government in India, actually dating back to 2013. But let's explore the last year, because I think there's a lot of activity that's happened in a very short period of time, and opinions that have changed and waffled a little bit. But this is an interesting article. You can go and look it up below in the description. I'm going to put a link to every article that I discuss here. I've taken out little snippets from the articles that I thought kind of highlight the thought behind the article. But this one's titled, Why Bitcoin Could Thrive in a Country Like India. This is June 25th, 2017 in Business Insider. India has one of the largest remittance markets in the world, with a total value of close to $70 billion on every transaction. An average user pays up to 15% in bank charges and conversion fees. So I mentioned that before. So we're talking about the remittance market. Imagine what an XRP could do in India. $70 billion in remittance in transactions, and they're currently paying up to 15% in bank charges and conversion fees. And we know that with XRapid, with XRP, it would be a small fraction of that cost. So let's move on. Okay, so some of this might be spelled incorrectly. Forgive my typos here. I might just correct this on the fly, if you don't mind. But okay, so cryptocurrency in India, usage and regulation. This appeared in India-briefing.com, October 5th of 2017. India's financial institutions are digitizing. They're moving people off of fiat currency into the banks at a time when nearly 40% of the country's 1.3 billion population owns smartphones. So I talked about this in a previous video, the importance of the smartphone and how easy it could be for someone living in an unbanked environment to then be able to transact in the cryptocurrency just by using their smartphone. So now we have 40% of the country on smartphones, but that is not necessarily a prerequisite. So we know that it can be very easy to bring smartphone technology. It's not very costly to do so. There's phones coming out of China that are very inexpensive. Phones that are potentially manufactured over in India that can be very inexpensive. They can bring more and more of the smartphones to the economy, but even without that, you can find solutions with other forms of technology to move the unbanked into the crypto sphere where they're going to be safer. But in this case, they're trying to move them into the banking sphere, into the regulation and control sphere. Now, Indians, furthermore, are becoming skeptical of keeping the entirety of their savings in banks. They don't want to do that. They never did it before. Now they're going to be losing 100% of their control. Before, they just had to worry about the valuation of the rupee. Now they're going to move rupee into the banks and lose 100% control over the rupees. Now, this is a sentiment that has been exacerbated by the recent demonetization of 86% of the country's paper currency. This is a targeted process and a targeted program by the Central Bank of India to move everybody off of the reliance on fiat paper currency. Okay, now this is actually a continuation of the previous article. So these trends all make India ripe for a spur in cryptocurrency usage. So we're talking about this movement, right? So we're talking about the sentiment, the negative sentiment. They're trying to move, the central bank's trying to move people into a non-cash, non-paper society, paper money society. So these trends all make India ripe for spurring in the cryptocurrency usage. It's perfect, right? And trading. Looming government regulations, however, may turn this boom into bust, according to this article. Though India was regularly buying and selling Bitcoin as early as 2015, the cryptocurrency made its real debut as fiat money in November 2016 when the Modi-led government demonetized 86% of the paper currency. Now, the reason for this is twofold, and I mentioned it a little bit. Okay, first, demonetization forced many Indians holding onto large amounts of untaxed black money to quickly find new, novel ways of laundering money in order to avoid both taxation and government scrutiny. Bitcoin became an ingenious way to hide money from the purview of the state. Would-be money launderers could simply purchase large quantities of Bitcoin with old rupee notes, then sell them back later for newly minted legal currency. Now, whether this happened or not, it may have in some cases. However, it's very easy for them to track if you have to register each user for Bitcoin. As it is with all the other exchanges, you have to use a photo ID and register yourself to that Bitcoin account. And that could be one stipulation if they want to put some form of regulation instead of banning cryptocurrency. Put a little bit of regulation to track it, but really that's not the primary reason as to why they're trying to over-regulate by banning, because the second reason, more importantly, demonetization showed Indian citizens that they cannot trust the government to uphold the value of their money. As journalist and novelist John Lancaster explains in an essay on Bitcoin, the value of fiat money is an act of faith. By turning the vast majority of India's fiat currency into valueless paper overnight, the Indian government broke that faith. So this goes back, this is an article that was India Briefing from October 5th. And here we're talking about the reasoning why the government, the people are really turning from the government. The government, they see it as a way for them to control, but also to make their paper valueless as they're trying to pull it out of the economy. Okay, next article. Indian regulators worry about Bitcoin. October 14th, 2017. Indian regulators worry about Bitcoin. This showed up in the diplomat.com. As more consumers and businesses turn to Bitcoin, the Indian government is still studying the issue and has not provided clear regulatory guidance on the payment technology to date. This was in October. So fast forward from October to April of 2018, we know that there was a change. But the internal debate of Bitcoin highlights two competing impulses within the government of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. While officials want to foster innovation in the banking sector, they are wary that such technologies could facilitate cybercrime, bribery, tax avoidance, and money laundering, which we just discussed a little while ago, which is, I believe, a false narrative for their control. Now, war on Bitcoin. Government panel seeks crackdown on cryptocurrency dealers in India. November 2nd, 2017. New Delhi. To curb the use of cryptocurrencies in India, a government panel is said to have advised closing cryptocurrency dealers in India. This was in the Economic Times, .indiatimes.com. This is where it appeared. Again, here they want the government, a panel is saying that they've advised to close cryptocurrency dealers in India. Market experts believe banning cryptocurrency dealers or exchanges simply won't work. So instead of closing cryptocurrency dealers, the government should take steps to curb buying and selling of Bitcoins or cryptocurrencies in cash. As I mentioned before, there's probably another way of doing it if you want to at least have it documented as to who is moving money from fiat over to cryptocurrency, take their ID, find other ways of tracking it. But this move can reduce illegalities in the country, says Hesham Raymond, CEO and co-founder BitXOXO, a Bitcoin exchange operating in India. If exchanges come under the definition of dealers, then in case of closure of domestic cryptocurrency exchanges, buyers will start buying them from foreign exchanges, he said, which I believe is definitely the case. So we're seeing that some of these exchanges have already stopped as a direct result of the ban that was imposed. Now this article again was from November 2nd of 2017, and now we're seeing that this is actually coming to fruition. So let's look at the next article that came out in November 16th of 2017. Supreme Court issues notice to RBI, the central bank of India, Union of India, and other government ministries and institutions in petition seeking ban on all cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin in India. So this was on Mondak.com. It appeared November 16th. The writ petition has been filed in public interest under Article 32 of the Constitution of India for seeking issuance of directions to the respondents to ban the sale and purchase of illegal cryptocurrencies or decentralized digital currencies or virtual currencies such as Bitcoin, Litecoin, Dash, BBQ coins, Dogecoins, Ripple, etc., which are being traded openly and extensively within the knowledge and domain of the government of India for a host of anti-national and legal activities. Again, this was November 16th. This was the Supreme Court, the very court that just upheld the Central Bank of India's ban from April. The Supreme Court upheld it. So now what we're seeing is a year ago, even less than a year ago, we see a lot of negative control type of motions coming out of the Supreme Court, from the Central Bank of India, somewhat from the government, but I think we're really seeing it more from two sectors of government, and mainly based out of the central bank, but being upheld by the Supreme Court. Now, let's fast forward from November to February 1st of 2018. India turns against Bitcoin, but embraces blockchain technology. This was on Bloomberg.com, February 1st. This is a little bit of an irrational thought process, but the India's government said it doesn't consider cryptocurrencies as legal tender. That's okay for the time being, and will take all measures to eliminate payments using them. But let's look at them in a form of a long-term hold. Let's store of value. But this is in February, so now we see some tension again coming in from the government that they really are seeing a threat to the rupee currency coming from a more valuable cryptocurrency market. The government does not consider cryptocurrencies legal tender or coin, and will take all measures to eliminate use of these crypto assets in financing illegitimate activities or as part of the payment system. Finance Minister Arun Jaitley told lawmakers in New Delhi on Thursday the government will explore use of blockchain technology proactively for ushering in digital economy. So here they are talking about blockchain, but yet they're against the cryptocurrency because they see it as a direct threat to the rupee. Okay, let's move forward a little bit to June 5th, 2018. India cryptocurrency market on the rise despite government ban. This appeared in financemagnets.com. India is a massive, mammoth market for cryptocurrency. Once it was responsible for 10% of all Bitcoin transactions, but the country's central bank banned financial institutions from processing the orders of cryptocurrency exchanges on the 4th of April 2018. The move does not seem to have harmed the industry so far. Trade volumes and prices have surged in the months since the decision. According to a report in Reuters, this can be explained by the 3-month window that the Reserve Bank of India has given to businesses to comply with this ruling. People are rushing to take advantage of their last chance for profit. So although there's a ban, people are still moving money over into that space to try to make more profit before it became official in July. Now, the ban was the result of the committees set up by the government to decide on the future of cryptocurrency in the country. The decision was not surprising. The country's finance minister, Arun Jaitley, made it clear in February that cryptocurrency is not considered legal tender in India, at one point even comparing it to a Ponzi scheme. Cryptocurrency exchanges have also been raided by the tax authority. Hivam Thakral, CEO of cryptocurrency exchange Ucoin, said there is a positive sentiment in the industry that the government will not ban trading in cryptocurrencies. And even if formal banking channels cannot be used, people can move to crypto trading platforms. New investors are coming to our exchanges while existing ones are regaining interest after the drop because they're getting good value and are making money as the price of cryptocurrencies move higher. So regardless of the ban, they still want to put more money in. Despite the ban, there exists cautious optimism in the Indian cryptocurrency community. Unlike China, where the public has little recourse against the government's decisions against cryptocurrency, India is a democracy. Court action against the government's decision has been initiated, which we'll see coming up pretty soon. There's another petition coming up July 20th. Let's move forward a little bit now to June 21st. 2018, Indian crypto caution could stifle innovation. Ever since he was elected in 2014, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi has pledged to use technology to accelerate national development and boost growth, promising to make government more transparent and innovative. Mr. Modi says he will overhaul healthcare, banking, and government services. But the Indian government has struck a more cautious tone when faced with the often tumultuous rise of cryptocurrencies and crypto exchanges. Now we're seeing them go in the exact opposite direction to block it, ban it, not just cautious, but overall banning the transactions of fiat to crypto. In recent years, India has become a regional leader for cryptocurrencies and trading exchanges. In May 2017, India accounted for almost 10% of all global cryptocurrency trades, and now we see what has happened. So we have a huge population, a lot of demand, and the government's going the other direction. Again, if we look at the true reasoning behind it, we could show that it's really out of a passion for controlling the weak rupee economy versus letting the people move to something more successful. Now, last December, the Indian Finance Ministry described digital currency investments as being like a Ponzi scheme and urged caution when investing in cryptocurrencies. This was just in December. The ministry said investors transacting with digital currencies were doing so entirely at their risk and should best avoid participating therein. In addition, the Finance Ministry highlighted possible national security threats and said the nature of encrypted transactions meant they could be used for activities such as terror funding, smuggling, drug trafficking, and other money laundering acts, which, yes, it's possible that cryptocurrencies can be used for that, but it's very naive to think that fiat currencies aren't already being used for that exact concern. And this is exactly why the government is trying to get people off of the cash system and putting all their money into the banks so they could try to control and avoid that. Now, with a ledger-based structure where everything is documented, unless it goes into a private currency that has no tracking mechanism where it's private, but in this case, it's open to the public, the Bitcoin, you can track every transaction. You have a little bit more control over where the funds are going. You have more ways of tracking it as a mechanism, where with paper currency you have zero. You can't track it. Once it's moved, it's done. That's it. And that's happening right now today. It's not something that you have to worry about something maybe happening. This is all happening today with their paper currency. Crypto specialists have viewed the Indian central bank's ruling as a glaring example of, the way I see it, the Indian government or the bureaucratic system is not really proficient in understanding new technological advancements like cryptocurrencies or blockchain, says Awanish Rajan, co-founder and chief executive of a forthcoming crypto derivatives exchange registered in Estonia, not in India, preparing an initial coin offering. So we already see there's an exchange that is in Estonia, and we're going to see more and more of that technology coming out of India. You're going to see a brain drain as a result of the government regulations, where the companies will move out of India to where they have more freedom of activity. And then you have the public, again, as I mentioned right in the beginning, they're the ones that will suffer. But I believe that the ingenuity of the Indian people will find a workaround. But in the meantime, you're going to have a huge brain drain and a lot of money drain as these companies go elsewhere. Mr. Rajan says Indian regulators were seeking top-down control over cryptocurrencies and exchanges. They are not proficient in understanding how it works, and they couldn't see what was happening in the crypto space. They felt they were losing their authority over the system and didn't really understand either blockchain or cryptocurrencies. This is exactly my opinion. This is exactly what I was saying. My suggestion was to follow a country which has taken a good lead on this, for example, Japan. But that has not happened. This is per Mr. Rajan. All right, let me summarize everything that we just talked about. That was really the last article that I wanted to talk about today. But you can really see we have a lot of things to think about. India is a perfect example of a country in the world, just overall, that could be a tremendous asset to the cryptocurrency space. But cryptocurrency in general can be significant to India, with a population of 1.3 million, with hundreds of millions of people that remain unbanked, with hundreds of millions of people that could truly take advantage of being self-reliant and self-sufficient by controlling their own wealth 100%. You have a developing nation that's been growing on average of 6 to 7% annually. So now imagine the impact. If you could take all the fees we talked about, just internal transactions and moving of money throughout India, which is worth about $70 billion per year, with a cost of 15% per transaction. Now imagine what that could do to the economy by decreasing that transaction cost within India. And we've seen, if you go back, you can look at videos on, they've talked about XRP and and SBI, and there's a lot of things they've talked about with regards to India, with Ripple and moving millions upon millions of XRP into India to build the use case within India to use XRP. And I sincerely believe that that could have a huge impact, not just on XRP, but on the population in India. India is truly an amazing country. So with all the bad things that we just talked about when it comes to cryptocurrency, and I don't think it's really all bad. I think that it's a country that's trying to find its path and find its way with crypto. Now, with a population of 1.3 billion, more than 200 million are still considered to be unbanked, as I've said, but so many more distrust and are rejecting the government's attempt of economic control through eliminating a large percentage of their fiat cash paper currency and forcing the population into a reliance on digitizing their currency through the banks. And this is the population that would want to embrace the cryptocurrency. Now, I mentioned early on, I've been to India. I've been there 4 times. I've worked in the healthcare related space in India for many years. I've seen the tremendous growth in the economy. I've seen the tremendous enhancements in the infrastructure. I've seen how they're focused on improving and enhancing the health sector, the healthcare sector. It's an amazing country doing amazing things with amazing potential, and this is one big step backwards by banning cryptocurrency and attempting to hold on to this notion that they can control their fiat currency space. They can control the monetary value of the rupee. If they allow people to move into cryptocurrency, it'll have a detrimental impact on their fiat currency. Let people embrace a technology that can value and increase in value, that has significantly more value than a rupee. Now, I believe that because of what they're doing, you're going to see a slowing or a strangling of the growth in this sector if they keep pushing forward with the banning until people find a workaround. I had mentioned that the exchanges, I believe, will leave India and they'll go to other countries, so you can have a brain drain and a financial drain. Keep it in India. I think that's important. Now, I see very similar tactics in many governments where they're attempting to over-regulate crypto. But India is going to an outright ban. The other countries have found a way around it. Now, again, this is a huge mistake for India that will end negatively. It will have a negative impact on the people. The very same people that the government has claimed that they want to lift out of economic despair, that they want to bring up, they want to improve all of the things that the government of India has been focused on doing. This is definitely a step backwards. So while the government in India wants to develop, they want to increase technology for the people, it is counterproductive to limit the growth in crypto out of an irrational fear and a misunderstanding of the financial aspect of cryptocurrency. They want to embrace blockchain, but they want to block the cryptocurrency. It really makes no sense. But with all these negatives, I truly believe that there are positives on the horizon for India. We've seen it with others. We saw all those articles happen in a very short period of time, and the opinions changed. And I truly believe that with the amazing people in India, the amazing market in India, that there will be a push to have the government change their opinion and have the Central Bank of India change its opinion and the Supreme Court of India change its opinion when it comes to cryptocurrency. I really hope that you enjoyed watching my video this evening. I hope that you enjoy the channel in general. If you like today's video, give a thumbs up. If you like the channel, please subscribe and hit the bell notification to be notified every time we upload a new video. And with that, I look forward to seeing you on our next video. Thank you.